Okay, guys, we should be on live now. So welcome for all the people that join the live. As usual, I will wait a few more minutes before I start talking about the markets. So be patient, say hi on the chat to see how much people there is, where you're from. Going to be an interesting session as usual on Monday. I'm doing the weekly forecast. Gonna talk about what's happened last week overall and what we can expect during the following week. There are some good news from China that we're going to discuss today to see if there will be any change on the forecast on indices and on Forex, etc. So we're going to talk about a lot of interesting things today. Igor, hi from Canada. Hi. That's good. Okay. Okay, as usual, we'll start by talking about the dollar index. Sorry. Last week, this gave us a lot of good signal and understand what the overall let's say sentiment in the dollar currency. That gives gave us a lot of indication on the euro dollar and the pound dollar. So let's check. Hi from Norway. Okay. Yeah, hi from Germany. Hi from Norway. Okay, that's interesting. People from all over the world and all, let's say, the whole globe actually is checking me. Nikki. Russell, hi Russell. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about dollar index a bit. As usual on Monday we talk about dollar index. As a forex trader, you should guys know about all the indexes around each currency. So there is also the yen index. I think there's probably the euro index. But what I've been looking a lot before starting my week and also before starting a trade, especially in the dollar, is the dollar index especially. So let's have a look on what's happening there. Okay, here we are actually on the dollar index. I'm very glad that, I don't know, we identified together on a stream that here, after this huge extended move, we can expect any retracement. Generally in a Nielsen market you cannot have, and especially in the Forex market, we know the Forex market has a cycle more than a trend. Okay, you see this was very healthy. Okay, the dollar get stronger because a lot of things, because of the inflation, because of the COVID situation, and then when we break all this market structure here, I was expecting at some point, maybe not at that point especially, any retracement on the dollar. And if we go back to the monthly chart, we see also that this was a level of 2016. Here we have a touch on 2020 and also 2022. Each Monday I see the chart and this was clear enough for me that here we're gonna have a rejection. Okay, when the market started from 90 and reached 104 without any retracement, I was expecting to have slowing down in the dollar currency, actually calling a bit the market and what actually is happening. Okay, you see, for example, here it's quite different. Okay, when you have when we look, for example, at this structure just below from let's say 28 and 2015, so we have ups and downs, and here, okay, we have this market structure here. Okay, this accumulation lead to a breakout of this structure. Here, okay, if we go back to 2021, you see that there were at least there wasn't any market structure to have an accumulation, to have a huge movement on the dollar. So that's why actually we are starting to get down a little bit on the dollar index. This was quite very expected. It was very easy to expect that. I mean, technically, also fundamentally, there is inflation. So there is inflation, and the dollar might be gaining some value in the short term, but also on the long term. So okay, on the daily chart, this was actually on last week. We had this top here, okay, especially on this supply level around 103, 104, and here we break out the first. If I go even to the H4 chart here, okay, we had this structure that break, making a breakout. So from here we already have a bearish trend, okay, on the dollar. Starting to create. However, okay, we are actually getting back to the average on the of this chart. Okay, actually we are at the top of the trend channel. I generally don't use this type of technical signal, okay, by having a buy on the top of the breakout structure. There is a huge pressure on the downside on the dollar. Okay, I know that the euro, for example, is also getting some value. So I expect also the dollar for the next week to get weaker yet. Okay, so I expect lower move on the dollar index, maybe getting back to this channel, especially maybe to the average of this ascending channel. It might be on the middle. Okay, so we might go back here, let's say, to the black line. Okay, this might be a great spot. Okay, I would get rid of all the okay, so this might be here, the zone. I can be looking for the dollar index. Okay, so we actually at 101. I expect the price of dollar index to go back to 99.50, around this zone. You see, there was here a zone where the price struggled to break out. Okay, so I expect to get back to this zone at least during the next week. So that's why I would be looking for some buy on euro dollar, some buy on pound dollar, and not buying and not selling the market right now. So far we have some places to go yet. Okay, that's what I see. Okay, Igor on the chat is telling me that he expects the dollar index and the dollar in general to break out above that line. I agree. Okay, on the long term, that's what I said just before. On the long term, I agree that we're gonna see anytime soon, okay, the dollar index to reach again that zone here, making a retest and probably making a breakout. For the week and for the next 2 weeks from now, okay, myself and I agree that you guys can have another opinion. I expect the dollar index to give a little bit, to ride a little bit lower around the 100, and I agree with you, around the 100 level here, banks and institutional will come back, buying again the dollar and pushing up on the other side. Actually, here there is very difficult to attract any institutional. This is not here a key zone level for me. I don't think that here we are actually at a key zone at 100. You see this type of candle, they are very weak. It was creating a supply here, so I agree with you. Actually, the institutional and banks want to see the dollar index getting a bit lower to attract at a better price, and the better price might be here. Okay, so that's what I prepared for that week. Going back to this zone, this might be actually the play for that week. So let me know on the chat if you guys agree with me, if you expect on that week having still the dollar sliding down. That's what I think personally. Okay, Igor. So we are actually on the same mindset. We are actually on the same idea. So that's fine. I agree with you. So this was for the dollar index. Also, one of the reasons of the dollar index sliding down is also part of the risk on and risk off environment. We see last week that all the US indices, the American indices, have pushed up. I think maybe 5 or 6% up during last week. And this might be the explanation also why we see. So first of all, this was a technical movement from that side, but also there is a fundamental way to understand why actually the dollar index get down, and most likely because of this movement here on the indices. It's actually the S&P, but the Nasdaq was the same and the Dow was the same. We see here accumulation and pushed up on the dollar on the indices. We made, I don't know, it was nice movement here, maybe not yeah, we come from 3,860 to 4,100. So that's a huge movement on the dollar indices. We might see a breaking this type of trend of structure. We reach back to the 4,000 zone. That will be a very important zone for the week. There is also this supply here that can be tested, and this actually movement happened because of the China situation. I explained it at the beginning of the session. What's happening on oil and what's happening also in American indices are most likely because of China and lockdown. China will close, let's say, will come back to normal situation during this week. They were on lockdown at Shanghai. I think in Shanghai they were on lockdown until this week, and because they're going to open back the economy, open back the transportation. So we see that oil actually reached to $115 per barrel. We also see that we know that China is one of the biggest economy in the world. It actually gave some movement in the American indices, and because we see that maybe the environment is more safe, and we have some investors having their head back in the stock market, and stock market is on a risky market. Okay, people will sell dollars, so they will sell cash to buy actually indices. So that's actually the fundamental explanation of why actually the S&P and the Dow and the Nasdaq have this type of movement, and the dollar index made also the opposite to continuing this technical retracement. Okay, so this explains both of the movement, how the market are connected together, and that might be the main explanation. If we go back to oil, sorry, there is a high chance that we reach again the 126 level, and even breaking it out. This was here a huge demand at the 100 zone. There is still an embargo on Russia and oil, so this might be affecting a lot the oil. There is a huge demand because China is actually opening back their transportation. We have also the US indices that pushing up, that and the dollar index that getting down. There is a negative correlation between the dollar index and also the oil. that's actually pushing up, and I expect also the oil to have a breakout above during the following weeks and the following days to reach again the 127 level. Okay, so that's what I expect on gold. So for this week, I will be buying oil. I will be looking for buy opportunity on indices, and I will be selling the dollar. That's what I will continue for that week. I'm actually reading the question of Igor. That's an interesting question. He's asking, do I think that there is a sign that US will get some of manufacturing job backs from China? Yes, I think this is going to happen. The coronavirus, the COVID situation is quite finished. We see in Europe that we don't need the mask anymore, that we don't care about too much about the restriction, the COVID. Actually, we are trying, and that actually successful in all of the Europe country. We are trying to live with the COVID. I probably think that it finished, and the main subject on the capital market right now is inflation. Okay, we actually used a lot of the Fed actually print a lot of cash and invest and implement it in the stock market. That brings a lot of inflation, and actually the inflation is one of the most common talk in Wall Street, and that actually put some pressure on the dollar and on the US indices, and also the inflation is leading to a bull market in commodity. You see this on oil, you see this on gold a little bit, that is pushing up. You see this on wheat, on all agricultural commodity. So and of course the situation in Russia and in Ukraine is not helping the inflation. There is a lack of supply in all the commodity, so that's actually the main mindset. Inflation. We actually forget the COVID and what happened in the last few months. So yeah, I think that US will come back to China to manufacture, to bring back manufactured jobs. I agree. Yeah, I'm going to talk about gold in the MT5. If we go back to MT5 to talk about some Forex pairs here. Let's start with the euro dollar. Yeah, we see actually this morning. I think there is an holiday in US. There is an holiday in US actually. So the US market, the futures are opened, but Wall Street will be closed for today. But actually, we see actually from the opening that euro dollar is on an uptrend already. Okay, it wouldn't be bad to have a buy at that zone. It's coordinate with my technical signal, for example, but this was quite a very healthy push from that point. Okay, actually I expect the euro dollar to make another test to this zone here, the 100.06, but we can be pushing up. Yeah, I think we are in the next zone already. Okay, this might be the next zone. So in order to make a buy in the euro dollar, for example, I will not commit myself and opening a buy on the longer time frame. Of course, on M15 you will always find, also on M5, when you have this kind of uptrend channel, and that is a low liquidity day. Of course, there will be some buy opportunity on the short-term time frame. But if I go to the daily chart and if I go to the H4 chart, having a buy at that zone here might be complicated. Okay, I expect to have another sell pressure to open a buy. I think there is a supply as well on this zone, so the risk reward for me here would be very small. Okay, if I open a buy here, I expect to have some exit here, and my stop loss would be probably below that zone. Yeah, the risk reward would be very bad to open a buy on the H4 time frame. So I have to be patient if I want to go with the trend. I already had some buy last week. You know, when I see this type of movement, I expect the market to have a retracement. You see, this type of zone was a perfect entry zone, okay, at the demand, exactly at that point. So I'm expecting this type of movement for also this week, okay, to have at least a retracement, you know, to this type of zone, to actually go with the market and open a buy. But don't commit yourself, okay? Be patient. The H4 chart can be very volatile at some point, so don't commit. Wait for the best entry that you can have, and if you miss that, that's fine. You will find on other spots to make a buy on the euro dollar, on the pound dollar. So you're gonna have some opportunity that week, but I don't want to commit myself by opening a sell. Okay, I want to still stick to my fundamental view of what's happening. So that's why I'm checking and will monitor my euro dollar to open some long on the following week. Okay, you see actually on the pound dollar that we are actually compressing. Okay, the market also pushed up. Okay, we have this type of triangle, and you see the market is compressing. Okay, so this gave us a signal that that the pound actually is losing a bit momentum. Okay, and that we can have as soon as possible any retracement on the lower side. I don't expect that we can continue. It's like the same scenario as the dollar index. Okay, when I see that this is an LC move, that's fine. Having a breakout here straight away gonna be very difficult for me. I expect at least to have, and actually what's happening here, some retracement at that zone. That's what we see if we go to the lower time frame. You see the M30 is actually struggling to break above, so at least I expect to break out on the downside on the pound, and we have multiple zones to attract a buy. That would be probably here. Okay, this would be a good zone. Of course, one of the good zone as well would be especially to that point. Okay, so let's wait for the next days. Maybe I would have to wait even more than a week to see the price getting back to that point. But yeah, I won't commit myself. I won't make a buy at that spot. This is for me giving me a very bad risk reward. So let's wait for a comeback to that zone, or to that zone. Okay, so far so good. Let's talk about the gold. This also was a nice spot to have. Yeah, I still expect the gold pushing up during that week. Gold actually is behaving a bit different. Generally, when you have the stock market pushing up, you have the gold starting to slide down. It's not the 101 mirror in terms of negative correlation, but I think what actually is driving the gold is the huge inflation that we have in US. Okay, so people don't want to hold actually cash and dollar, but they want to hold commodity, gold, silver. There are metals. They want to hold other assets. Okay, they don't want to hold dollar, so that's why they do. They're actually selling their dollar and buying some gold to actually fight inflation. okay, this was for me a trap from banks and investors, okay, to attract a price of gold at a better price. Okay, you have actually the price of gold that get back to 1,800. Okay, this is approximately that zone, and you see that gold don't want to push below actually this zone. You see, this is giving quite the overall picture on gold is bullish, is very bullish. I expect in the next year actually to break out above the 250 level. We are in a bull commodity time, so of course I expect gold pushing up, and that week to see if we have any opportunity. Yeah, I would be only buying gold at that point. We have this demand as well here. It is quite a bit lower, but here we are kind of at the average point. Yeah, I would wait for buying gold as well. Yeah, but definitely we're gonna see gold pushing up in the next days and in the next week. That's something I can expect as well on my side. We can make also another test. If I see we have this type, we can make another test to that trend line, that rectangle as well, and then making a double bottom to then continuing the trend. But yeah, I expect gold. That's something that I hold personally. So gold also is a nice signal for the next days. Hence, where can we trade indices? Probably you're gonna get some good news during that week. So guys, please be patient, but we are working on our side to bring indices. It's a story of days. I'm giving some hint. Be patient, it's gonna come very, very soon. Let's go back to the yen. The dollar yen was quite interesting also last week. Yeah, that was something I expected. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this was the type of chart I was explaining on the pound, for example. You see that the market created a downtrend, actually lost the momentum, make here a higher low, and actually breaking out earlier today. So of course the dollar yen, that also might be an interesting signal to do some buy actually on that pair during that week. Yeah, and we have also the this is actually starting. This is quite interesting. Okay, we have actually breakout on the upside. So this is also a very interesting chart here. Can be a retest of that zone, but I don't think it actually it's a retest on that zone. I highly expect the dollar yen to continue on the upside. This here was only this was an LC move actually. This was a very LC move. You see the dollar yen exploding on the upside. We had some sellers at that point. You see on the daily chart we have some accumulation. We have some doji here. but we might be looking for another push on the upside. We have also stochastics, my stochastics here on below 20 that's starting to cross. So probably here we had on the oversold actually point. But this was quite nice to see on the H4. We see clearly that the market break a structure and can come back to the upside. Gold does not look very enthusiastic for bulls. Maybe you are talking about the short term, but if I look for a long-term perspective, I highly expect gold to break it above the high. Like if I look at this chart here, even if you go to the monthly or whatever, but maybe on H4 we have actually, yeah, even on H4. Let me check why you think it shouldn't be bulls. Maybe actually this is, you know, not so clear what to do here, but yeah, that's why I say actually we can make a retest actually to that point, but I don't see gold breaking out below the 1,800 zone. Yeah, I expect on the next months to at least get back to that zone. Fundamentally, of course, technically you might see something different, but fundamentally and what's happening, inflation and all the way the hike in interest rate, we might see gold getting back to that zone. At least that's my opinion. Let's go back to pound yen. Yeah, pound yen is also behaved the same way as the dollar yen. We have this pattern here creating, and we actually breaking out on the upside. I don't like to, I don't know guys if you already see me trading, but I don't like to trade actually does breakout, because when you enter the breakout, sometimes there is a chance that the price make a short push and then come back to the zone. Okay, if I want personally to have to expect a breakout, the zone I will enter the price will be maybe here. Okay, so I will be entering the price here. Okay, I will be waiting for accumulation and then waiting for the breakout. So I will be in very good position to manage my profit. If I actually open a buy at that point, my risk reward and how I should manage my stop loss would be very difficult. It's still my psychology and how I work as a trader. But you know, if I get rid of the line here, what I can see as well is you know, this type of resistance. Okay, so there is multiple things to do. I don't want at any time to make a buy when we are at a supply zone. Okay, very difficult for me to make a buy here, and I also explain how I use Bollinger Bands, but I will definitely not making a buy when the price already extended over the 20 standard deviation here. Okay, that's still how I work. Of course, there is a huge place to go on the upside, but the positioning and the execution will not be effective for me. Okay, but yes, there is a breakout on pound yen, there is a breakout on dollar yen on the upside, but I would definitely entry before if I were if I was on this market, especially here when we had, you know, the higher low, this type of wave here. Okay, when you have the first wave, the second wave, the third one, and probably the fourth one approximately here might be a great zone to make a buy, to expect the breakout. Actually, you will have more space to manage. Yeah, of course. I'm just drawing the line to see that there was here an accumulation where the price broke out and popped straight away. We see this clearly on the dollar yen. Okay, when you had actually, the price accumulate, making, you see that the difference in volatility between here, that was, I don't know, 150 points, and here it was only 80 points, and then it was, I don't know, 20 points, and then we popped up. And this is going to happen also on the pound dollar. Okay, this is only a market reaction. This is also going to happen here. Okay, you see, you add on here on we go to the H1. Okay, you see today it's holiday, so might be the reason of why there is very short movement. When you see from here to here we have 100 pips, from here to here we have 111 pips, and from here to here it's quite a bit low. We have 60 pips, and then we have 60 pips again, and then it's quite very low. Okay, and it's moved. So if you get the time scale, you see that all the time you approach, okay, the volatility in terms of pips will get lower. Okay, there will be accumulation, and then the price will pop up one of the two sides. So of course the line, I'm not using line, I'm just showing the fact that we can have here an accumulation. I barely use line to make an entry, believe me. And you see that generally I don't draw line because I don't like line, but I draw a rectangle because it gave us a zone more than a straight line. Okay. Okay. Maybe Aussie dollar might be also interesting. It was very difficult for me to identify anything on the Aussie dollar. Okay. Yeah, we have a supply actually on the daily chart here. Yeah, this might be a zone also. I can be looking for a sell on the short term. Even it will be against the dollar. This might be a zone. I would have to check when the price reached that zone and when we are where we are actually on the dollar index. It might be very interesting to see what's happening. Of course there will be a reaction here. This is a supply at that zone. The stop loss would be very tight as well, so it's gonna be very easy to manage this type of trade. But yes, actually you see very short movement today, holiday. You can rest, but it's good to be ready for the starting week. This was quite expecting as well. Yeah, dollar CAD negatively correlated with oil. Oil is pushing up to $115 per barrel. We got actually this lower movement. It was very expected to have, having a fake breakout on that spot and then getting back. When the dollar CAD is reaching the top of the range, it generally gives a lot of volatility. You see this spike here, you see also this spike, and so on. Actually the spike reach here, attract some sellers, and then we get back here. The zone buyer going to defend would be that point. Definitely we are actually in the middle of nowhere. You see we are actually on the average price. This is the average price for past almost a year for the dollar CAD. Okay, the dollar CAD have been ups and down around that line. This is going to be the average. If I take the average from July 2021 until today, it will be 1.26700. Okay, so I wouldn't do anything at that zone on the daily chart, or even on the H4 chart. I would be waiting for some extreme points, so it would be especially to that zone. Probably for people that missed the short here, the buy going to be here. This is very easy analysis to have. And of course it can have and you see also here when the dollar CAD approach an extreme point like here, you see there are huge pin bar here. How much it's in? Yeah, almost 80 pips. This can be also an entry. Okay, maybe partial entry for dollar CAD in the long movement. Yeah, it's quite very difficult to make anything here. There is no signal to make a buy. The market already pushed down more than first wave was 250 pips. We start a second wave, we actually 150 pips. There is very small place to continue with the short here, so you have to be patient on dollar CAD to wait for any opportunity. I would do nothing for that one. Oh, okay, this is quite interesting as well. On the New Zealand dollar, we are actually touching this supply. This is exactly the same thing that I'm wanting to see on the Aussie dollar. Okay, so the Aussie dollar, actually the supply is here. On the New Zealand dollar, we are actually touching the supply. Okay, so we have this supply, but it's also coordinate with this point. Okay, so the market break it, make a retest, and we start a second retest to that zone. Yeah, this might be also some good spot. Yeah, a sell on New Zealand dollar might be the good spot here to have a sell. And in order to manage the trades, you see there is this line on the short-term time frame. You see that the low here is all the time higher, so there is a powerful movement on the upside. I highly suggest and hope that there's going to be a rejection on that supply. If we break actually this trend line, I will be removing my stop loss to break even, doing some scale out. So yeah, that's how you have to manage your trade. See if there is a breakout, a structure breakout, and then you can manage your trades. Actually, opening a sell right now wouldn't be bad at all. Wouldn't be bad. Yeah. We're gonna see today. I think that today, tomorrow I'm going to make a live trading room. I will probably taking some trades on live. New Zealand dollar might be on my list. Thank you, Igor. Have a nice week. Thank you. Maybe we can actually open a trade for tomorrow and see how it behave. Okay. Yeah, I would have a 60 pips. I would have a 60 pips stop loss. Let's say I want to risk. Yeah, I think 0.1 can be nice. Okay, let's go. I'm going to open a trade. Maybe hold it for the next week. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're gonna see. The TP, I don't put the TP yet. I want to see first of all that we break out this this structure here, and then I will probably adjust my TP to see where we can have any rejection. I might be some demand point here, for example. Okay, this might be a demand. If I go to lower time frame, yeah, this is also a very huge spot, more than here. Let's say it would be probably here. That would be one of the TP, maybe some scaling out that I will do would be here. The next spot would be definitely here also. We see the structure breaking out. That would be my second TP as well. Okay, but let's see. I will put my TP here first of all, but I will be looking for taking some TP at that zone. We'll see. I will be doing a live trading room tomorrow. We're gonna see how this trade is continuing, and we're going to discuss it tomorrow as well. Meanwhile, Aussie New Zealand. It's gonna be the last pairs I will be talking about the day. Let's have a look. Yeah, the data I have to refresh here. Yeah, I speak French. You can hear my accent, I think. I have a very heavy accent, French. I like baguette. Yeah. It's very difficult to hide my accent. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is, I personally don't like to trade these pairs. Okay, you see very huge volatility, a lot of noise. Okay, but if I can have a short analysis, we are still in the uptrend movement. So of course here this is a reaction. We might be pushing up, however we see here that we have a supply. We have a supply at that spot. And yeah, on the weekly chart, if I go to the monthly chart, yeah, this is quite interesting. We also break out here on the pond, on the Aussie New Zealand. So this might be the beginning of a new long bullish momentum on the Aussie New Zealand. The fact that I don't know actually might be the good move. We have a lot of noise here actually. Here we have also yeah, if you open a buy here, of course you're actually in the good spot, but making any decision at that point would be very difficult for me. Maybe on the short time frame you can have some opportunity. You have here a supply that first of all you can react to this supply. Okay, making a short on the short-term movement. But anywhere else, I don't know. It's very difficult to expect anything. I think the main way to expect a move on the Aussie New Zealand will be to understand the economy of Australia, and the New Zealand economy. I think that the best way you can understand what's going to happen on the Aussie New Zealand. Technically, we have some signals, but if we can bring any economical aspect to this chart, it would be even better. Okay, and we're going to monitor actually the trade. We have opened a sell on the New Zealand dollar. We're actually on a daily supply. It's also a breakout and we test level. So we're gonna see tomorrow if I'm still alive, and I hope it won't touch my stop loss during the night. And we're going to monitor this for the next trading room tomorrow, guys. All right. I'm going to finish with that today. So thank you for all the people that stay with me all along the session. Also, thank you for the people that joined me in the middle. It was very interesting. We talk about a lot of things, indices, commodity, dollar as well. We have an ongoing trade on the New Zealand dollar that we're going to check for tomorrow. So guys, thank you for being with me today. I wish you a nice week, and be sure to follow us on our social media. I see that John already subscribes the channel, so please, it can help us a lot to expand our trading resources at the 5ers. So again, thank you for being with me. I wish you a nice week. See you tomorrow for another trading room, guys. Bye bye.